It's Dr. Karthik Ram. Welcome to my podcast. I'm a board certified plastic surgeon and educationalist based out of Chennai. I'm really honored that you have taken your time and given me your gift of your attention. Hope you are going to love this session. Please follow me in my Instagram handle for more updates. My Insta handle is Ram Dr. Karthik. RAMDRKARTHIK. Enjoy today's podcast. Hi Joyce.
Hello, sir.
Joyce and me, we are planning to just recap the last. Uh, I was not there for a few days, so last 2 weeks, the patients we are going to recap and we are going to talk about it. Usually, this is a memory of a plastic surgeon. Like if you go back and after 10-15 years, if we just go through this Insta lives and the podcast, we'll be having our whole patients' stories. Lot of interesting and lot of sometimes so sad stories we listen in our practice, and this Insta diary, that this is a plastic surgeon's diary, will be helpful for a lot of people wanting to go for plastic surgery, as well as a lot of young plastic surgeons who wants to take this cosmetic surgery as a special career. Both of them, this plastic surgeon diary will be really useful, I suppose. Over to Dr. Joyce. Joyce, the routine disclaimer, what we routinely give, I think you can start
Yes,
with that.
yes, Dr. Karthik, this is a very good initiative even for young plastic surgeons to come to know from a senior like you what are the kind of experiences we see. And very important for plastic surgeons to realize that the OPD also is a very interesting place, and a lot of experiences, lot of discussions, lot of information as well as education. So welcome everyone, and we are discussing a lot about our patients, but the disclaimer being that we will mask their identity so that we don't violate their privacy. A very interesting week, Dr. Karthik, and a long week, in fact, because you had gone on a holiday. A very interesting thing is about the rhinoplasty consultation. I think it's something that you always enjoy, but there's also something that you would like to tell young plastic surgeons, I'm
Yeah,
sure, about the technique you use.
I know. The consultation usually, like first, every plastic surgeon, every young plastic surgeon, as well as the senior and junior plastic surgeons, have to understand. Still, nobody has mastered in rhinoplasty. Everybody are good in their own way, and everybody are not completely mastered the skill of rhinoplasty. So we have to understand this fact. So this patient came to us from a very far away places, from probably 1,000 kilometers, 1,500 kilometers away from my place, and he came to me for a consultation for a deviated nose. It's a crooked nose deformity. So for that, he came with his parents, and I explained everything to him. See, whenever the patient come to us from a far off place, obviously they have inquired this with a lot of other people also. So what you have to understand is never hesitate to send them for a second opinion. See, definitely they also wanting to see other plastic surgeons to find out, like whom they are comfortable with. This cosmetic surgery, the selecting a doctor is completely, like a lot of things are involved. Like how the patient has to sync with the doctor, the intuition has to say this is my doctor. So no need to push the person to go surgery with you, so that like they themselves will select the doctor properly. So don't hesitate to send them for a second consultation. I also told them, go for the second and third consultation. Probably you should have fixed a lot of appointments with a lot of other doctors. Go for the consultations, and when you feel that yes, you're my doctor, you come back to me, we'll operate. Actually, he went for a few consultations. Then he came back, said that, Doctor, I'll go with the surgery with you. And we corrected the deformity. We did a lot of procedures. Joyce, probably you should be seeing a lot of, you have seen that procedure, right? You were with me that day, yeah. So we did a spreader graft. We did a complete septal
Yes.
dislocated. We had to bring it to the center. We did osteotomy. We did a multiple other procedures to correct it. But extremely happy client. Even he gave a review in the Google, and this is the advice to the young plastic surgeon. I never restrict them going for the second and third consultation. In fact, you encourage them.
Like we discussed the other time, gain the confidence of the patient and let it come from their side rather than us forcefully bringing them to us. It should come from the patient And they should have the confidence that no matter what you do for them, they will be happy.
Correct.
Another thing which we saw this week is a marathon case, which went over 5 hours. We started at 8:30 in the morning, and we completed at 1:30. It was a patient who came from abroad. And Dr. Karthik, I think you would like to say what and all you did for the patient.
This is about the massive weight loss. Oh, this patient, I
Yes.
remember, yeah.
The
Okay.
one with breast fat fill,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
breast
yeah.
implant.
Yeah, she's somewhere from Europe and she came for some spiritual journey to India, and she's planning to start life again. So she had a breast implant earlier, maybe 15 years back, and she felt very uncomfortable with the implant. So she met the same surgeon who did the implant for her. He said that it's my masterpiece. I don't want to disturb. Yes, exactly. This is a masterpiece. They have done a very good job, but she doesn't like it. So we have to understand this phenomena. Like the breast implant, a lot of people, they feel comfortable sometimes in the life because they feel very foreign bodies inside. A lot of things discussed about the breast implant illness syndrome, but you have to give, like that their emotions. We have to give importance to their emotions. Then only, like they'll be. We have to understand that their feet. So she came for the breast implant removal and the breast fat transfer. Same time, she feels her face looks little older, so she's planning to get married again. So she wants to do something for the neck. So we did a platysmoplasty for the neck, as well as we did a lot of fat transfer across the face, and even her earlobe is a little bigger, and she wants earlobe to look little, like younger. So we did a earlobe fat transfer as well as earlobe correction, and we did few areas fat transfer to make the fat look more younger. So it's a multiple procedures, and like when the international clients comes, we have a lot of variety of procedures. Usually because of the lockdown, we don't get to see
And
nowadays
lot of
much.
procedures also. Lot
Yeah,
of procedures, they get it done and they recover also very well.
very fast. So that skin, like even bruises a lot, but like luckily she doesn't have any bruises. Even she recovered fast and went back to a place in India where she came from very soon. And maybe 5 6 days she recovered, and she had a bout of fever, but she settled and she went back to her place without any issues.
So in cosmetic surgery, it's like that, right? When patients at any point of time cannot like something that they have gotten it done, and we, I think, as surgeons should accept it and not force them to, live with whatever they have undergone, whatever procedure. Like for example, she had a breast implant done, a wonderful job done by the previous surgeon, but now she's not comfortable, so we should give her what she wants.
Correct. So a lot of people, they say that beyond the breast implant illness syndrome patient, when the breast implant removed, almost 60-70% of the people have symptom free. So when
Yes.
though it might be psychological, whatever, but they're symptom free, right? Better do it.
Psychological is a aspect of our patients have to be understood very well. That is something it is not, most of them are coming for a deformity, but there's always a psychological background. Speaking about this, I think you remember that young nurse who had come for a rhinoplasty consultation?
So true. See, this girl, this nurse inquired me maybe 3 4 years back before the lockdown and all started. And she inquired over the phone about the rhinoplasty procedure. I asked her to come for a consultation. After that, she was busy, so she can't come for a consultation. So she turned up for a consultation last week, and that time I saw her nose was pretty decent, nothing much abnormalities, but her eyes looks very depressed, and like we can see that face is not happy. So I asked her what happened, and she also agreed that her nose doesn't have much problem, but it disturbs her a lot. Then we went depth of the history, and we found that she was bullied by her classmates in the school, often about the nose. So that kind of the bullying damages, and like it gives a lot of deep hurt in their mind, so that it carries a whole life. So whenever you bully a person, please uh, don't do it. It affects their self-esteem a lot, and it bring a lot of problem in the future. So this girl, finally we advise you, your nose is very good. Probably you might need to do a psychologist or psychiatrist to get a counseling for you. because because these people have a lot of body dysmorphic disorder properties. So we always send them to an evaluation from a psychiatrist. So she also agreed and she went to the psychiatrist. I think she will be benefited with that consultation.
Yeah, initially she was hesitant about going to a psychiatrist because the fact that she thinks her nose is deformed is so embedded that she didn't want to believe that her nose is normal. She didn't want to believe that it's all psychological, and she wanted you somehow to do the surgery on her. Coming to the psychological aspect, I think it's not the people who are very close to any person are the ones who impact a lot. For example, that mother of that gynecomastia patient who came to consultation, there was one patient who came to us for consultation last week, and wanted the mother called that boy as like Lord Ganesha, who's supposed to be very round and having a chest like a female. So bullying like that, I mean, coming from the mother, it impacted that boy also a lot. You have to say something for that?
That's so true. There's gynecomastia clients, whenever they're coming, they all show a lot of deep psychological impact happen during the childhood or from the peers, from the parents. Parents usually not, but very rarely people, like mother bullying, like saying that Ganesha is extremely rare. Though they don't meant it seriously, but like that, without that knowledge, they hurt the kid. They have to understand that the kids, even other way, the peers, whenever they are going to the common dress changing room, these guys wait till other people will change the dress, then only they enter into the room, because they fear that the bullying happened, that hurt me a lot. So I want to avoid the hurt. They don't go to the swimming pool, even at home. They don't want to remove the shirt in front of others. So like it will be visible, this deformity, the male breast kind of issue will be known to my parents or known to my peers. They'll be so much afraid. The fear is because of the bullying. If bullying happens, how did I take it? That fear factor is a major problem in any gynecomastia patient. So only they came to us for the correction.
And if it comes from a very close family, it hurts more. So I think parents should be very sensitive when they are talking to their kids about any deformity that they're having in their body. So that's very important. That's what we see in our patients who are coming in daily, day in and day out. Talking about the psychological aspect, even husbands, I think, go through a lot of psychological aspect when it comes to their wife. Dr. Karthik had a very interesting case scenario where he had a husband who's been inquiring for changing his wife's face. Dr. Karthik, that's very interesting. You should be talking about it.
See, that guy inquired so many times through our customer care, and he was so much impatient, and he wants to meet as soon as possible. Though language issues are there, he's from other states, so he, as soon as I finished came back from the surgery, this is my first consultation of that day. And as soon as he first said, I want to change my wife's face. That's the first thing. Like all the movies are spoiling the public. They think that they can completely transform one face to the other face. That is a very common
How
thing.
movies predict plastic surgeons.
Correct.
Yeah, very true.
The other thing is, this guy, there will be various reasons. I have a lot of similar cases earlier. The cases will be like, the bridegroom's family is not accepting the girl, so he wants to change and bring back to the bridegroom's family. And same time, a lot of the illegal thing also. They commit some crime and they don't want to get into trouble, so they want to change the face. They see the movies also. No, they all come back with this. I have similar patients in the past also. But nowadays it's easier. First thing what I say is, it's not possible. You better go back, and it never happened. That's why I tell them, and my consultation lasts in a minute time. So, but he spent a lot of hours to come and meet me. It should be discussed over the phone or something. So we should have told them. But he never wanted to reveal anything to a customer care. He said that I want to meet directly the doctor and discuss. So these are all very funny inquiry will come to us sometimes.
I'm sure this husband-wife issues has also led you to do marriage counseling recently. So I want to hear about that, and I'm sure our viewers want to hear. about how that husband and wife came to you. I mean, the husband more interested about the wife's transformation, the recent case that we had. That was quite
Yeah,
different from this case, but how was that? How did you deal with that?
the usual scenario is like the wife come alone and they said that my husband is not having any interest in my body and she's not having attraction towards me after the delivery. So please do something to correct my maybe they think that breast is they know like a saggy or a tummy is kind of saggy and they don't have the same shape like earlier. So that's what that here. But usually I tell them, see, you have to go and discuss with the husband properly because the discussion only important here because if he says that if a breast is not good or a tummy is not good, once you correct and go back, he'll say something else. The problem is not the body shape; it's a very different phenomena. And to go and discuss with him what exactly matters, what is lacking between you people. These kind of things usually I tell them. Even a lot of people they go back and try not to come for the surgery, but sometimes what happens is they say, "You correct this problem, doctor. I'll at least I know that this is not the problem of the problem is in between us. So at least I know that." So they come back and invariably say that you're correct, doctor. After correcting this problem, also they haven't. My husband hasn't changed anything. So now I understand kind of. This scenario is different. My husband and wife both came together, and the husband said that I'm not getting interest on her because her tummy is saggy and she has a protuberant tummy and the breast is saggy. So I want to correct it. I want to go for both the surgeries together. So there are very middle class people, obviously the cosmetic surgeries are a little bit expensive, and I told them don't go for both the procedures together and slowly inquire what happened. Then she also said that he's not having interest on me. I don't know what to do. Then the whole consultation became a marriage counseling, and I told them, see, unless otherwise that intention is come from the girl, I don't do the surgery normally. So you first, like you both of you understand the concept. This is not that just the body, the contouring procedures or whatever. It's basically the problem is the factor we both have the deep rooted love is a very important aspect in this time. It's not that just a body changing procedure will make you attract with each other because you're living with her for the last 10 years. Obviously a lot of love factors will be playing a major role than the body shape and the attractiveness. And then the girl also agreed. So I also want him to wear a good dress, doctor. I also wanting to make him happy. So at least we'll do it. So we are planning to do only tummy tuck now. Probably after 1 year, we're planning to do a breast lift procedures. So people have to understand the shaping is changing the body shape and the things alone won't attract other person. A lot of things are involved. Better you speak with your husband and understand him more than changing the body shape.
All these things seem very trivial, but they play a huge role in the way the patient is analyzing their problem, the husband is analyzing the problem, what they want, their expectations, and it finally bears down on us because we have to satisfy them. And if the problem is the psychological aspect or some personal issues and we don't understand it properly and we go ahead and do a surgery just because they're asking, I'm sure we're not helping them completely. So I think what you did was very important.
Yeah, a lot of times it happened. We did the surgery for the person and that person was very happy. Suddenly one day she came back and shouting at us, this result is not good, this look like this look like this. Then you have to understand it is not from her. Somebody has commented about the results. So she comes back and telling a lot of sometimes what happens is they'll be broke up with the boyfriend. Then they feel that we are the reason for that. Really difficult sometimes to make our cosmetic client happier. So we have to understand what is the trigger point. Sit with him, understand the trigger point. Try to make her understand what is happening. A lot of times we play the psychologist role here in cosmetic surgery.
That's why we're doing this plastic surgeon's diary to show everyone how interesting our life can be and how many experiences we have, and it is so varied and so thought-provoking as well. Talking about acceptance, I think it's very important for patients also to accept what their doctor has done. One is to have the trust on the doctor, and second is to even accept it. Do you remember the pillar patient who refuses to accept that she's got a good result?
Yeah, sometimes these kind of patients also come to us. This patient came to me maybe 2 years back asking for a lot of transformation in the face. She's mid 40. I don't, the Indian client. So obviously I don't want to do a facelift, neck lift at this age. I wanted to wait for some more time. So I told you can go for either fat transfer or the filler procedure. Filler is little, it's an office procedure. You can think about it, and Botox together. So it kind of decent enough to give a good results. I was kind of, she's kind of, her expectations are a little different and more, and I was little confused to perform or not. So actually, I'm avoiding her for a long time. So finally, after 2 years, she again came back and said, no, doctor, I'm going for the filler at this stage. I don't want them to, spend a lot of money in the first time itself, because they have to feel the, the example, how it's going to be with the one filler kind of, two filler kind of. Usually, I'll restrict them 1 or 2 fillers initially, unless otherwise they already know about the fillers. So I told her to go for only 2 fillers, and I think 2 fillers and Botox. And she said, okay, I'm going for 2 fillers and Botox. Then on the table, I felt that some more filler will be helpful, but I told her not to go now. You come back after a month or sometime, we can think about other fillers. So she said, no, doctor, money is not a problem. Even for the initial money payment, she was doing a lot of things, like almost half an hour, she keep paying with that bank credit card, this bank credit card. And then finally it made it. I told her, don't go for it now. After some time, you'll do it. No, the money is not a problem, doctor, you do it. So I did the third filler. So then she was kind of, we showed the before after pictures, she was happy and she left. We see, usually the tendency is when they want to, not want to pay the money and all, they second day onward, they keep selling. My eyes is black. Some complaint, they make it. Okay, so see, we are all now experienced. We know how the person behave when they want not to pay the money. I told, no problem, we can help you. You come back, we want to help you, kind of. And we kept little bit of filler for the future use, because after a week when she comes back, any touch up I want to do. She doesn't want to leave that filler also. So she wants to have that filler, but she doesn't want to pay the money. She came back. We showed her the results. It really I think you saw the results, right?
Yes.
Joyce, that before after thing. It's very,
And
very
we
impressive.
convinced her. We showed her the before after pictures. We showed her what is the changes. She accepted it also. But somehow she wanted to emphasize that no, my previous face was much better.
That's what. See, they doesn't want to get convinced, and she went outside. Within a second, she disappeared without paying the one filler's charges. It's actually, like a big loss to us. See, we have to understand the cosmetic practice. Some people are like that, so we accept it. Like 1 in 100 patients will be like this only. So no point in going and chasing her and trying to, find legally take action. I don't do it. Some people will do it.
Okay, that is nice. On the contrary, we also had an actress who has so much of confidence in us that who came back for a repeat Botox. That is
Correct.
also there. Those kind of patients are also there.
Yeah, this patient, maybe twice or thrice, she came for a body contouring procedure. I rejected her and say that go back and exercise. You have a good. Basically, she feels that I don't have time. I want to go for this procedure. I always tell them, if you want a faster results, you have to go for a diet and exercise. The liposuction, swelling, and everything settles in a 1.5 months time, 1.5 2 months time. So better to do a body. If you want to show the results faster, diet and exercise is the faster way. So she also agreed with me every time, and she went and she lose easily, and she lose a lot of weight, and she come back and thank me saying that because of you only I didn't go for a surgery. And this after that, but she brings a lot of patients to me, as well as she comes for the other small procedures like a Botox, fillers, and anything, any small issues like a skin tag removal, whatever. See, the very important thing is you have to. It's not important to convert the patient for surgery. It is very important to win the confidence of the patient, and then only that is more important than, because this cosmetic practice is like lifelong practice. They all be with you all the time. Like most of the time they come back for small procedures, all like a family only. Even the staff become very friendly with them, and it's like a family only. So the winning the trust and confidence of the patient is extremely important than trying to convert the patient here in the cosmetic practice.
Also, one more thing is the trust factor, but patients should also listen to the advice which we give them. So this there was another case we had planned for gynecomastia surgery, that is excision of the gland under local anesthesia. And as usual, we give a lot of instructions to our patients. We tell them that what they're supposed to do and not to do. But this patient landed up bleeding on table, and we had spent a lot of time arresting the bleeder. And finally, we realized that on inquiry, we realized that the patient had smoked on the day of surgery. Now, we advise patients to stop smoking 3 weeks before surgery, and here is one patient being so irresponsible and smoking on the day of surgery itself. But there was something which very interesting happened with this patient. Dr. Karthik, what is it?
I hope actually I finished the gland excision part and leave it to Joyce for the bleeding to control the bleeding and keep. He saw Dr. Joyce suffering a lot during the surgery for arresting the bleeding. And after one more interesting point is he came for a nipple reduction procedure. Actually, that's what he meant to us. But when I saw him, because he hasn't come with a consultation, he come directly. When I saw him in the consultation, we have planned for the gland excision because it is a gland that's also involved. Suddenly he asked, Doctor, we quoted one nipple reduction only, very less, and we are going to do gland excision. What is going to be the charge? I told, I'm going to charge the same. I don't want to burden you with the extra money, so don't worry, kind of. That itself is very happy. Then when he came for a review, I don't think you are not there that time, Joyce. Actually, he came and said, Doctor, for the small surgery like that, Madam suffered a lot to arrest the bleeding. You think about the bigger surgery. Suddenly, I need to go for some other reason. I totally realized, Doctor, ill effects of the smoking. I completely stopped smoking, Doctor. The surgery is not only corrected my gynecomastia issue, it is stopped. It make me stop my smoking also. It's, like this is what we want from our patients. You remember, Joyce, how much we speak about the smoking and the consultation, and we wanting them to stop. That's what if we achieve that part, I'm very happy. If they're coming for surgery, not coming for surgery the second week. If
I
they stop
know.
smoking, yeah.
We've
So
not only
I
helped
think,
this
yeah.
patient deal with the gynecomastia problem, but we've also helped him in a very important issue, getting out of a very important, wrong habit, and that is smoking. This particular patient actually during the surgery, when I had inquired, he had smoked. So I told him that this is not a good habit, and he started inquiring. So what does smoking do, and how badly can it affect? So maybe whatever I told him and counseled him regarding that made a very huge impact, which I didn't realize. But I'm very happy to see that I could get one patient out of smoking, which I strongly feel that people should stop smoking. Um, Talking about bleeding,
Yeah,
this week has been terrible.
this patient, no, going to remember you for the lifetime. You changed him.
Yeah,
Okay, that is very important. That's what,
correct.
as a doctor, we are here for.
Yes, very important. Actually, I keep advising anybody known to me also about to stop smoking. But I'm so happy to see one person who's actually done it. Now, Dr. Karthik, talking about bleeding, I think we had a very interesting as well as a difficult week this week with another bleeding case. So this was another patient, as usual, operated for gynecomastia in the morning, and we go on a follow-up in the afternoon to see how the patient is so that we can discharge him. And what we notice is one side of the chest is completely swollen up and blue-black with a lot of hematoma collection. So we rush him into the operation theater, and there we evacuate the blood. We evacuate all the blood clots and we stop the bleeding. But in this, what do we learn? We learn a very important factor is that patients should be very honest about whatever they have gone through or whatever their past history. Very importantly, we always ask the patient, but what did this patient actually hide, Dr. Karthik?
Repeatedly he had a high BP during the master health checkup in his factory or office. So the BP is around 190, 130, 190, 130, consistently like that. They ignored saying that we might be tense, kind of, like he hasn't gone for the proper medical checkup and the medication. So here he left it like this. On the day of surgery, it was a little high, but our anesthetist will control the BP very nicely. But during the surgery, his BP shoot up around 190 to 130 kind of. And then again, he used a lot of antihypertensives to reduce the BP and make it all right. Even after surgery, we put him on the medication to reduce the BP. But usually, this kind of uncontrolled hypertension, that the whatever bleeder we arrest during surgery opens up. Okay, that's very not abnormal. So even the same way, like we have done more than 3,000 gynecomastia surgeries, out of which we have, like seen maybe 10 to 15 the bleeders, and out of 10 to 15, we open only 5 to 6 cases in the theater. So in his case, the first thing is when the complication happens to anybody, any plastic surgeon across the world. When it happens, you have to confident enough to control it. Most of the time, yeah, he had a food also. That time we can't give the anesthesia also. We have to give a local anesthesia, explore and control the bleeding. So in this case, you have to make him comfortable first of all. You don't make it like a very serious process. What did I say? I talk about what did you eat? How was that sambar sadam and all? We ask, like make him comfortable first. Then you give adequate anesthesia, local anesthesia infiltration, so you will be pain free, and give him a proper conversation so he won't get tensed. So what happened? The bleeder means we have to go and arrest the bleeding. That's it. Okay, it's not a big thing. So within 10 minutes, we arrested the bleeding and we evacuated the clot and we sutured back and came. So these patients, see, if you don't believe, the people who had a complication will be so attached with you, and they'll be seeing, like how you suffer because of their mistakes, and they'll be so attached with us, and they'll be communicating with us for the lifelong almost. So for any young plastic surgeon, complication happens, explain to them properly what happens. Never try to hide anything from the patient, because patient wants the truth. Not only patient, anywhere in the world, even the public wants the truth from the government. Same way, patient wants the truth from you. So be truthful to the patient and tell what happens, and explain to them and make this proper. So don't panic when the complication happens.
Patient did not panic. That was very nice. This particular patient was very, very smooth in the whole process. Maybe because he was also guilty that, he didn't reveal his facts, that he was a known hypertensive. He hid that fact from us. He didn't tell us. So that was a little difficult, but somehow we managed to get him through safe and fine.
Even next day he got
we have a
discharged.
very interesting. Sorry.
Next day he got discharged and went back.
Got discharged and he was safe. We have a very interesting patient right now who's going through body contouring. So he was obese. He lost almost 120 kgs just by diet and exercise, without differing from bariatric surgery, which was the popular advice given to him. And having lost so much of weight in a period of 2 years, he developed a lot of loose skin. So he came to us for a body contouring procedure. And Dr. Karthik, what have we done so far for him?
Actually, a lot of surgeries we are doing for the last 6 months. First thing what we did is we remove all the excess skin in the chest, and we did a prenatal graft for the chest, so that chest is contoured. After 3-4 months, we have done now the extended omelet. We remove all the excess skin here and side of the chest, so that even the upper back loose skin can be managed to the extent when we are pulling the side of the chest, the loose skin. So we did an extended omelet. Very interesting, the person. We are going to interview him soon, because he is also a doctor.
Yes.
And he motivated himself in the final year. I think when I finished MBBS, he motivated himself. So he planned to do a lifestyle management as a main specialty. So he wanting to transform himself first. So he's very cooperative patient, a very nice person. We are planning to interview him soon, so that 120 kgs losing without bariatric surgery is my I never thought about it in my lifetime, but it happened.
He's very inspirational.
So very inspirational. Yeah, we are going to interview him soon in some Insta Live, maybe a week or 10 days later.
Yeah, so now we've actually seen his upper body transform, and we are enthusiastic, and he's also waiting to get his lower body transformed. The upper body, because he wanted it like that his upper body at least gets contoured, so that he's more easy and confident to carry himself out. So there was something very nice which happened to Dr. Karthik yesterday. Someone acknowledging him for something very trivial for him. but it's something that he always does, and that is apologize to patients when he consults them a little late or he becomes late in the consultation. So, Dr. Karthik, could you please tell us about this patient yesterday and what gift he had to give you?
He's very elderly gentleman, and I always know that they're all very punctual for attending the consultations usually.
Consultations.
So yeah, so immediately when I know that I'm going to go, the delay from the surgery, I inform the front office to call the patient to inform all the patients that I'll be late by half an hour. So when it came, half an hour delayed, and he was waiting for me, and I usually, when I enter into the consultation chamber itself, 1 minute I stop and I apologize to every patient, then I go inside. So he saw it, and even he was so impressed with our teams so much. Like even 45 minutes prior, they called him and informed him that doctor will be late half an hour. So we're changing the appointment to some half an hour delay. So all these factors impressed him a lot, and he was in the pharma industry. So the pharma industry, he doesn't. In the pharma industry, he met a lot of doctors. He said that I have met maybe 40,000 doctors in the whole lifetime, and even the junior seniors, nobody apologized for coming late. But you see, individual doctors, they're different, but we can't compare each person to the other person. I feel uncomfortable when a person waiting for me. I have to see him because I put myself in that position and see if I sit there, what I feel kind of. So that makes you realize that making the person waiting is definitely not ideal. We are not God. We are not God. We are just a human being to help other human beings. That's it. So that made him so much, impressed with our work. So he gave $25. His son and daughter is living in US, so he visit US often, I suppose. So he gave $25 and he said that you have to keep it like a shotgun, and because this is not a consultation fees I'm paying you, I'm going to pay it separately, but you have to keep it like a thing. You will go in life, like you'll shine in your career so much. Like that, he blessed and left. These kind of some interesting things also happen in the practice, and simple logic. You put yourself in their shoes and do things. All the people are happy.
Yeah, so in North India, this shagun is supposed to be like a blessing which you give it to somebody who's younger than you, and it's like a sign of prosperity. You're blessing them with prosperity. So this brings us to the end of this Insta Live of Plastic Surgeon's Diary. A very interesting week, Dr. Karthik, and I think we're looking forward to a much more interesting week in this, which is coming forth. A very important message I think that we carry in this coming week or in the coming years is humility. Humility is a very important factor, and humility I think carries any person forward, and for doctors I think it carries a long way. So I think that's my take home message, and for the viewers, I think you can, from all our experiences, you can take your own message, whatever you find interesting.
Thank you, Dr. Joyce. You are making the show very interesting, and
thank you.
And with these viewers also, please follow us in the Plastic Surgeon's Diary. We'll be doing a podcast as well as the Insta Live whenever we have time. Don't pressurize to do it in the same time. It is really difficult in a surgeon's life. So whenever we can get to do the live, we'll do it, and we'll make this as a podcast also. Whenever you are not missing this show, please listen to the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.